Hello, I'm Eduard Grau, ASC, AEC. I'm a cinematographer of a few films. My favorites are difficult to name, but I would say A Single Man, Passing, Buried, The Room Next Door, Beverly Hills Cop 4, and so it's a few, yeah, and The Gift probably as well. I like them. It was actually very good. I discovered some things, sometimes it's difficult to find, calibrated monitors, next to each other and see them at their best and its glory, so I was very into it. I really excited. It's pretty impressive, it's like I was blown away, I was like, as a DP, you care a lot for the black level, and to see it in full glory, to see it in as good as it can be, that's always a great thing, So I was very happy to appreciate that. Also the comparisons, and seeing LG OLED, stand out. It's actually very impressive to see how the TV can control, the level of brightness and can find detail in areas that other TVs cannot, So that's very impressive. It's also sometimes scary, when there's too much detail and too much perception, because you can see sometimes, mistakes but I think that level of accuracy and that level of control and the fact that you can also play around with the levels you want to see and and the 3 scales of 1,000, 4,000, 10,000, I think it can be very useful and create a very beautiful image and very pleasant to see. So I'm always happy to see that there are professional levels for the TVs, that to enjoy, so that's very good. I would definitely watch Chris Doyle's, the cinematographer Chris Doyle's movies, like all his work with Wong Kar-wai. I think In the Mood for Love would be a joy to watch here. I think Harmony Korine's Spring Breakers, because of the color vibrancy, the contrast, how well it's shot, I think it would be really fun. I think Nicholas Winding Refn, Neon Demon, that Natasha shot should be really fun to watch on a TV, like the LG OLED. And I would love to see as well some of the classics, like I think Citizen Kane or The Godfather, watching back some of those movies. I think it's important as well to, when a TV resists the watching of a movie that you've seen so many times and you know it so well, it's actually very, very exhilarating to see. It makes you very happy to see a classic again in a great new TV as the LG OLED. I think the most important is to watch it in a dark space as much as possible. That's the biggest setting you can do in any TV. But I think if you can go into the settings and make it as natural looking as possible, not overdo the color saturation, the contrast, it's good to, if you can control the level of the mapping and also, just look for as good of black as you can. Yes, and it's very good. I have a LG at home and I like it very much, so yeah, the filmmakers mode is important, for sure. And I think I like the subtleties of the filmmaker's mode. I like how, you know, it's just not as aggressive visually, you know, and I like those kind of films and those kind of looks, and I like watching it on my TV when it's, you know, when it's like that. You know. The perfect blacks, it can be a game changer, absolutely. I think, you know, it's always been very difficult to find TVs that look precisely how you want them to look and not to struggle with them. It's like sometimes it's a very, very expensive monitor that you need to have on set, and I think having a, you know, a TV that is not that expensive that looks so good, that's a game changer, you know, and those kind of things are the things that make every consumer, you know, kind of raise the bar of how they're watching the films, and that makes the filmmakers happier with how people are watching them, and that, you know, allows us all to have a bit more of diversity in the kind of way we see and we want our films to look, so we can trust that people are going to watch in a pretty good conditions at home, you know, that it's not only like it used to be, that only in the best cinema, in the you know, just calibrated cinema you could see the movie as it was intended. I think the goal for everyone in the industry is that we have TVs at home and that look as good as the filmmakers intended it to look, you know, so I think that's very important for all of us. I think it's, you know, I think that obviously color doesn't play, you know, so it's basically, you know, the black level, the white level, and the contrast within, you know. So I think that's very important, but I also care about the texture that it shows, you know. I find that sometimes a lot of TVs are too digital and they lose a bit the quality of the film, or the quality of it just gets a bit too digital. And I think for me that's a very important thing for a TV, you know, and obviously the blacks are very important, you know, and the level of contrast and the capability and range of contrast is very important, you know, so it doesn't go, you know, too contrasty too early, you know. I think I like the scenes where, you know, there's, you know, Tessa Thompson's character is silhouetted again in her kitchen. When, you know, when there are like, it's very bright outside, quite dark inside, and, you know, the light doesn't get through as much. I like that a lot. And I also like the beginning of the film, that it's very, very bright and very, you know, kind of, there's almost no, you know, dark spots. It's all very on a level of exposure that is like very bright for my standards and for anyone's standards, but I thought that was kind of interesting of the film, because at the end of the day the film is trying to tell the story with light and darkness, you know, and with brightness and dark, and I think that contrast and that play of light and shadows is what tells the story, you know, one of the points of we tell the story with. So it's a joy as a cinematographer when you can tell the story with images and with light and darkness and no color, you know. So. Actually, we're looking for a color scheme based on those old magazine covers of the 60s and 70s, you know, that they had kind of this faded color, very saturated but faded, with a lot of grain. Vibrant colors, but not, you know, not kind of in the same way we think vibrant. We think, you know, I think like a paperback impression of vibrant at the time, you know, and we went for that kind of look and feel, and I thought that was like the best it could represent the period, you know. So we shot on film. We tried to saturate the colors as much as possible in front of the camera, and in post-production as well, you know, and we also play with color, you know, with these moments where the Colin Firth character George, he sees the wall and kind of breathes color, and we kind of exemplify this with these fades to color and fades of saturation that they are so, you know, iconic of the movie. So. You know, so we play with all those elements. Actually, you know, obviously, when you're dealing with the sunset, you have to be very quick and very good at scheduling. You know, so I think it's a teamwork between the AD, the director, you know, the actors. Everyone needs to be on sync so we can reach. You know, it was a very short shoot, so like when the days we had to shoot at sunset was like, okay, let's shoot. It has to be very specific and very precise and very quick. You know, so obviously because you have a limited time. We light a few of those, but not many, you know, because we just play with what was there. And sometimes, you know, you don't have time to waste and you just need to go. In the underwater, it was the last thing we shot in the movie, and it was in a water tank, you know, in a parking lot, and, you know, and kind of we set up you know, a kind of very simple lighting that it could be poetic as well. You know, I think it was more important. It was not about the realism of it all. It was also about creating a feeling and an emotional reaction to those images, more than creating it to be real. You know, we wanted to live in a space that is Tom Ford creates. You know, a space and time. You know, for the movie. So that's what we're living for. You know, like we're not trying to do exactly what it will look like for real, but it's just trying to create something that stays in people's mind, and for us that was important. You know? I think I like the dance with Julianne Moore a lot because it's a scene that has the joy of life. It has Julianne and Colin at their, you know, kind of being very exuberant, very fun, very great to be with, and very. I just like the vibe of that scene, and you know how the camera goes handheld and dances with them, and it feels like a bit like alive, and you know I think you know the movie needed that kind of breathing and you know and that kind of joy. So I think that joy is very well told, and that's in, and I like that one a lot. I'm actually very impressed with the setup and what I've seen, and you know, and where things are going in the TV world. So it's great to see that LG stays on top of the market and keep pushing everyone to make it better, because I think that's what will make everyone be better, you know. And so if the top brand in the market pushes it and makes it better, you know, everyone, you know, has to follow, because everyone needs to raise their game, and I think that's good for everyone, you know.